Okay, today is April 9th, 2022. We're here at the Paul Robeson Memorial event in Petworth. My name is Dan Kerr. Do we have permission to record the interview?
Yes.
Could you tell us your name?
My name is CeLillianne Green.
And I believe you are a poet, is that correct?
Yes, I'm a poet, a lawyer, speaker. Yes.
And what brings you out to the event today?
Well, Paul Robeson brought me out here, but the actual invitation came from the artist Uzikee's wife, January. So she asked me if I had a poem I could recite on the 124th birthday of Paul Robeson. And I actually did not have one. And I was currently working on a poem for the new Justice of the Supreme Court, the first African-American woman, and my spirit was with her. But I thought I would still come out here and I would have something. I said, I'll have something. And I did an acrostic poem using his name, Paul Robeson.
Could you share that poem with us?
I'd be happy to. It's entitled Paul Robeson. P. Principled black man and the author of Here I Stand. A. Athlete, actor, and activist. This man fought against racism with his mind and not his fist. U. Unjustly accused by the United States. For 8 years his passport and freedom travel had to wait. L. Lawyer, linguist, Phi Beta Kappa, a man of superior intellect, a man who earned and deserved respect. Robeson. Renaissance man from 1920s Harlem until his last day. Paul Robeson's art and activism had something to say. O. Othello performance in London brought him acclaim. Afterward, the world knew Paul Robeson's name. B. Bass baritone voice was the creator's choice, and when he sang a Negro spiritual, it felt like a healing ritual. E. Eslanda, Essie. Accomplished chemist, his manager, actor, author, and wife. They remained married until the end of her life. S. Son of an enslaved man who ran away. As for slavery, his mother's abolitionist family felt the same way. O. Old Man River, the showboat musical song was transformed by him. He made the song a declaration of resistance, and it was not the same again. N. 1976, Paul Robeson moved beyond this earth. When he transitioned at the age of 77, the world knew his worth. Paul Robeson.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Now, you are a poet, and as
Yes.
part of, and could you tell me about what the connection between poetry, community, and activism in your experience? What is that connection?
Well, I think because the poems come from a pure space in your spirit, at least for me. I wasn't always writing poems. They started to come to me in 2005. And I really feel like it was the Creator helping me to find my way to me, to give me a voice to say that which I wasn't saying with prose. Although I write prose as well, I find that poetry reaches the spirit of others in ways that prose may not. That people find poetry accessible as a tool to hear. And particularly for African Americans, we are a vibrational people. And so the rhythm of a poem settles in on who we are, and we're able to feel it in a way I think that can move you. And as it relates to things that are happening in our communities, poetry, the arts, spoken word has always been a part of who Black people certainly are. And Mr. Robeson, as an artist, an activist, an athlete, he was truly a Renaissance man who utilized the spoken word and the Negro spiritual in particular, which is a particular sound that comes from deeply melanated, soulful people who are able to sing songs that really do provide like sustenance and healing for the spirit. So I do think that poetry fits right within that.
What have been some of the sources of inspiration for your work?
Well, my most recent source was Ketanji Brown Jackson. As I said earlier, I had, as an attorney, the fact that this is the first Black woman to be confirmed to go into the United States Supreme Court brought me to tears. I was watching her confirmation proceedings with interest as an attorney and as a Black woman. And on the first day when she spoke, I just cried. Not because so much of what she was saying, but because it was her sake. And I just felt the warmth and the joy of it. the very next day, the poems started to come to me. So I feel like she inspired me, my ancestors inspired me. The idea that this country will finally have a true representation and a reflection of a woman who looks like me on that court, that inspired me. And I finished that poem, and I've been sharing that as well. So that's my most recent inspiration. And right after her, Mr. Robeson.
Yes. You came out also because of the celebration of Uzikee's art, or Uzikee Nelson's artwork.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about what the meaning of that and also his wife Genoa's art has been for you?
Well, I've known both of them for a number of years, and his art is around the city. But this particular piece, dedicated to Paul Robeson, I'm glad that they contacted me because I wasn't aware that his birthday was today, first of all. And the very fact that he has given of his work and his artistic gift to the community. And she's very much in that same vein. And the notion that our art can, and his art, because if you look at, I don't know if you can see the piece in the background from here, but if you look at the power, you look at what the piece is actually made of, and it is really symbolic of the strength of Paul Robeson and what he endured, particularly for the 8 years when his passport was taken away from him and he wasn't able to travel. And so I appreciate that the two of them as husband and wife, both artistic individuals, both who give back to the community, and both who wanted to acknowledge and celebrate not only Paul Robeson as a human being, but her husband as the artist who paid tribute to him so many years ago when they placed the sculpture here.
Now, what are some of the communities that you feel connected to?
In Washington, D.C.?
However you see those.
Well, I guess in general, I feel connected to the black community as a black person. And I feel that the presence of black people have contributed so much to what America is and can become if we could just get beyond racism and racist ways of being in this country, that we have so much that can be accomplished based on the original documents that formulated how the country was to function. Because the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are really powerful, in many ways, spiritual documents. And if you can start a document out with, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all, they said men, but let's just say all are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If the men who wrote that, and these are all white men, if they could have seen beyond their limited way of just being white and male, and to recognize that those documents and those words, for everybody, we would really have a utopian society. Because it's really powerful writing, what they put on paper to govern how they wanted to function. And what we're seeing now, I think, is a significant growing pain for the country. Like, we're in a labor pain now that is really, really hard because we have to give birth to a democracy that is beyond what we've been doing. And we have to be open and receptive to that. And I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
I love that. Do you have any last words you'd like to share with us today?
Thank you for.
Well, I thank you for asking me, and I look forward to seeing what the project will be, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
He